Oh, no, 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 no. A little better. There we go. Third time's the charm. All right, all right. Woo! Good morning, likely when you see this. Maybe good afternoon, maybe good evening, because, hey, maybe some international viewers. But you know what it is. You know what happens when you're chilling with Dill. You know the drill. Pelicans Daily, presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Dylan Bruton. Make sure to like, to share, to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Support is for free. Appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling with me on this journey. Again, this grad school life is we've been having to do a lot of writing assignments recently, especially writing about our experience so far. And I've been like, look, man, I am stressed. Oh my god, it's a lot, but I'm very stimulated. I'm very much enjoying the experience. It's just a lot. You know what I'm saying? So my sleep schedule has just been. But anyway, well, some could say it's sleep. Some could say it's awareness. But we have made some tough roster cuts, including a player who I really thought was going to be able to crack the regular roster, and maybe he does. In the I want to say long run, but he's excuse me. Oh my gosh. Maybe he gets some more burn and opportunity. God forbid something happens, or we want to throw some different looks. But we have officially cut Jalen McDaniels and Garrison Brooks. Now, they both were brought in on camp deals, and they will be able to get opportunity with the Birmingham Squadron, which is the G League affiliate team that we run. Um, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think that um, you know neither, especially Jalen, showed enough within the early preseason play. I can't speak to our training camp, but they also got outplayed by Jalen got outplayed by Christian Shoemate and Micah Peavy, and then in regards to Garrison, shoot, I'd be throw Sadiq Bey up there. You know what I'm saying? And then with Garrison, we're pretty stacked at the bigs as far as you know, with Eve, with Kavan, with Carlo, with even Hunter. Hunter played well, so it's not going to be like the thing that people don't realize is that yes, we are a team that is building actively, and I've been having a lot of conversation with different Pelicans beat writers and people who cover the team, genuinely, and this is a very talented team from top to bottom. There are questions about the bench, yes, but starting five we're set. But we've got a lot of depth that, if put together properly and they play at a high level, play within the system that, Coach Willie Green is implementing and Coach Borrego on the offensive end, then we're gonna be, again, we're gonna be set to have a talented team and talented roster. But yeah, fortunately, neither of them really showed anything. But I could see a scenario where Jalen McDaniels gets an opportunity. Now, it is funny to think about, like, someone said, oh, we got the wrong brother, but it's like, hey, man, Minnesota, if they're smart, they never give up Jaden McDaniels, because the impact that, Herb has with us, that's, similar on the defensive end. Now, obviously, Herb brings more as a shooter, as a ball handler, but in terms of, like, just having that ability on the defensive end to lock down the best player and to be able to dive for those loose balls, be the consummate teammate. He does that well over there, so hats off to him. But yeah, his brother's a talented player too, and I think again, him being a vet, we don't have many vets. That would be something that might be weighed and tilted to his favor, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But in turn, we signed DJ Carton and Trey Mitchell to Exhibit 10 contracts as well. And they're also both expected to be signing wave, but they'll be on the G League roster and also given the opportunity to potentially be brought up. Now, with Carton, he played in the G League with the Toronto Raptors affiliate last year. Very, very smart player. Played at both Ohio State and Marquette. He's able to score pretty efficiently. Passes the ball well. In the summer league, I actually got to see him Yes, I got to see him the one day that I went to the summer league. I did, um, but he averaged 11 a game, 6.5 assists, 38.5 from three. Um, you know, he could he could very well be the lead guard for the squadron. So, we're very stacked at point guard, especially once Dejounte comes back. So that I think that's going to be a little bit harder. But who knows? Again, who knows? And also we have to see what happens with Jose. I mean, because again, we don't necessarily have a pure point on the roster, so that could also sway in his favor. And then with Trey Mitchell, he did play on the training camp roster. He did play on the G League affiliate, and he's a guy who's got great defensive ability. Chase down blocks, steals, playing tough in your grill, but then also can space the floor. Shot 41% from three, and to be a 3-and-D player, I know people feel like it gets redundant, but you can't ever have enough 3-and-D players that know the role, that play well within a system, are familiar with how things are done, and again, don't overstep, don't overplay their hand. So at the very least, we have a talented G League roster. We got a talented G League roster. At the very least, can't nobody take that away. But I'm intrigued to see what those two moves, just given the, knock on wood, I'm hoping nobody gets hurt and all that, but just given the different looks that we might run as a team and how things get set up and structured. But speaking of kind of crazy trades, now, this is a trade that I don't necessarily want to see happen, but if it happens, obviously, I mean, all these trades can happen whether I approve of them or not. But this will be a trade where it's like, damn, like it does address a need, but at what cost? So Athlon Sports put out an article, and it was kind of gave us not really much praise, but gave an overview about us and what we've been doing, and then it did turn into a more positive article as it progressed. But it also just kind of try to ask and wonder what's going to happen this year and moving forth. So I get it, just given the rosters and the roster moves and such. And then it talked about Walker Kessler. Now, Walker Kessler to me is one of the best young back to the basket bigs in the game right now. Obviously, he's not a scorer, but in terms of defensive ability, rebounding ability, I think he's incredibly talented. Really like his game a lot. Now, this trade would have Jordan Hawkins and Walker Kessler be traded, but picks would also be involved because they were shipping Walker Kessler last year because we finished with the second worst record. They finished with the first worst record, and neither team got the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. Ain't that something? But they got Ace Bailey, so hey, I guess it works out. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, they also kind of similar to the trade parameters for Trey or for Herb, multiple first round picks or another young but like just young player that's semi-proven, or even a veteran that's proven able to contribute right away. As far as for an asking price. Now, it's tough because like Walker Kessler last year averaged 11, 12, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 66% from the field. These are stats that, again, you don't just roll out of bed and put those up. You got to have some game. You got to have some ability. So that one's tough, man. I ain't gonna lie. And it would complicate things, but then it would maybe, I don't know, because it's like then that eats into Eve's development. Does that eat into Derek Queen's development once he's back in the fold? What does that mean for guys like Carlo? What does that mean for a guy like Hunter Dickinson who was hoping to hang on? So it's just like these trade articles. I haven't entertained one in a while, but I was like, this is actually an interesting one. And y'all know I've been from the jump very vocal about Jordan Hawkins being a player that I really like. I like his game a lot, but I also understand, yes, he has to shoot better, and show a bit more ability beyond just shooting in order to be taken seriously. But um, it's really tough because, like, again, Walker Kessler is a very talented young big, definitely a big who has a lot of potential. So it's like, ooh, I don't know. And I know for a lot of y'all like, I'll make the trade happen. But then think about it, like we would have to give up picks. And look, everyone was already up in arms about the Derek Queen trade. So imagine even more. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know what that one. That one's actually legitimately has me like, really can't go wrong either way. But I really do understand if it doesn't happen. So just a little food for thought, just something to think about, something to consider, but just something that I felt like was interesting. Given again, it's not been a secret that defensive rebounding were two areas we struggled with quite a lot. Walker, enter Walker. I mean that would change a lot of things. He's a true 7 foot. I mean, we don't have one of those in the roster, so it's just like, so again, something to think about. Something to think about. Last but never least, and it's not too many comments. I mean, there's a lot from my guy, Christopher Church. I won't make this to Christopher Church, so shout out to Christopher Church though, man. Definitely a real one. Um, hmm, 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 hmm. Let's see. Yeah, Chris, you was active. You really was active. I'll respond to this one. I also like the team practice video showing Jose telling Zion that he's a leader and the team will go where Zion leads. That was a couple days ago. Sorry, just remembered. No, I'm glad you bring that up because yes, and I honestly should have included that into a coverage episode, but I did not. So it's on me. But I agree with you. And that means a lot. Again, Jose, is definitely more of an emotional, passionate, someone to be, someone to galvanize behind, in terms of his energy, his presence. So for him to give that type of credence and respect to Zion, it speaks volumes. It says a lot. And obviously they come from two different pedigrees of, Jose's had to fight and claw his way to the league. Zion came with hype out of this world, number one overall pick after having one of the greatest college basketball seasons of all time as a freshman. I don't care what nobody tries to say. Can't tell me otherwise. Um, but yeah, the team is gonna go where Zion goes, so you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that. Sadiq was impressive. Him, PV, and Herb. I like he. Peters played well. Carlo got good form. I'm still not used to trade with braids. Yeah, I ain't used to trade with braids either, but he pulling them off. He doing well with them. Um, as for Sadiq, yes, I was very impressed with Sadiq, especially in that second game. He was on a tear. He was lights out. And again, I know some people have felt otherwise, but I think it's going to pay dividends to have a veteran like him off the bench in the role that he plays. And if you throw him, PV, and Herb, and Trey into a defensive lineup, I mean, no, but just call it Alcatraz. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out. So, and I do feel like Jeremiah did play well. I mean, some of the raw numbers, he did have a lot of turnovers, but a lot of young guards have that issue. But in terms of showing what he could do and become, in terms of the athleticism, the aggressiveness, the ability to create his own shot, the ability to run the floor. I mean, these are all things that you just can't teach. So I agree with you on that. Carlo does have good form. Yes, very much so. And I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the spacing big, because we could definitely use that in the team. So I wouldn't be opposed if Carlo does that, but he also can really punch it in the hoop, can really dunk it. So, yeah. I'll respond to this last one, and then I think that's good. I think I want Looney to start the season for rebounds. I'm not mad if Kevon Looney starts. Personally, like, I wouldn't be shocked if they run a rotation where it's like they each kind of get like 20-something minutes each, and I'm referring to Eve Missy. But I wouldn't be mad, and I talked about this with the legendary Mr. David Grubb, who he and I have built a great rapport. And he mentioned with when it came to Kevon Looney, that him being a teacher to Eve and being a role model of sort for him to emulate pattern, that's going to pay dividends for Eve Missy. Now, do I think Eve Missy has a higher ceiling? Absolutely. But there still is some rawness. There still is some potential concern. Obviously, we expect him to go dominate the summer league. Didn't really happen. But he played well in this preseason. If he continues to build on that momentum, especially, and if he plays well in preseason, it's going to make some things difficult in terms of decision making, but it will just show the overall talent, the overall ability. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you on the Kevon Looney as well, just given the veteran experience, pedigree, does the little things, and, you don't have to worry about him being like, I ain't getting the ball enough. I'm not getting enough touches. Because we got a lot of, some people say, you got a lot of chefs, not enough cooks. So, and then last but never least, the original Don Guillory, OKC was first in the West. Yes, how did I forget about OKC? Yes, I meant Houston was second. I was just thinking about them having home court so much, that was in my mind. So yes, OG, Mr. Don Guillory, you ain't wrong. You ain't never lied. But yes, OKC was first. And look, OKC might have been first last year, and they likely will be first again. I'd be very shocked if they weren't. But make no mistake, whenever they come into town, we're going to play them tough. We're going to play them physical. They're going to have to earn every single point. That's all I'm asking for. So anyway, y'all, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay amazing. It's such a great honor to be able to do this, and I appreciate all the support, appreciate all the love. Let's keep it rocking and rolling and going. Y'all have a great day. Y'all enjoy yourselves. And, you know what I'm saying? Again, spread some love, spread some positivity. It don't cost nothing. It's for free. But y'all have a great rest of your day. Continue to like, share, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to Faint Arch as a whole, as a total. If you're doing anything, they're killing it. So keep going, keep rolling. But y'all have a good one. Stay blessed. Ciao.